afternoon from the KUOW newsroom. This is Seattle Now. I'm your host, Paige Browning, with today's top stories. It's Thursday, May 28th. Starting with our top story, the bodies of 6 people who were unaccounted for in this week's chemical disaster in Longview have been recovered. It appears to be the state's deadliest workplace tragedy in nearly a century. OPB's Bryce Dole has the latest.
On Tuesday, a massive tank ruptured and released tens of thousands of gallons of corrosive chemicals at the Nippon Dynawave Packaging Company. 8 people have been confirmed dead, 3 more are missing, and officials believe they're dead. That would make it Washington's deadliest workplace accident since the state's coal mining disasters decades ago. The most recent comparable incident occurred in 1930, when 17 people died in the Pacific Coast coal mine explosion in the town of Carbonado. In 2010, 7 people were killed in a refinery explosion in Anacortes. An investigation into the Longview tragedy is ongoing. I'm Bryce Dole, reporting.
Advocates for light rail packed the Sound Transit Board meeting today and pleaded with board members to build future light rail stations in Ballard, West Seattle, and elsewhere. As of our podcast taping time this afternoon, the board has not voted yet on how to move forward. Here's Casey Martin with what's at stake.
If waiting for a late train is bad, waiting on delayed train stations is upsetting just about everyone in Seattle. Elected leaders, business groups, transit advocates all want to know, when will Sound Transit complete its expansion plan, something that voters approved 10 years ago? The agency is short about $35 billion. And today, the board will vote on a plan that could defer or delay big sections indefinitely. Projects like pushing South Kirkland Light Rail out 9 years to 2050, scrapping West Seattle's Avalon Station, and stopping the Ballard extension about 5 miles short of Ballard. People frustrated with Sound Transit say they're owed stations they've been paying into for years. Casey Martin, KUOW News.
Graphic evidence was on display today in the trial over lewd behavior in Seattle's Denny Blaine Park. Amy Radel explains.
Neighbors on the shores of Lake Washington want the park declared a public nuisance and potentially closed. They submitted videos of people engaging in sexual acts as recently as this month, alleging that the city is failing to address indecent exposure there. Defenders of the park as a nude and queer-friendly gathering place say the examples are overblown. Nicole Bache is a member of Friends of Denny Blaine.
What we're seeing in court is very atypical, and ultimately it's unfair that an entire historic community and culture is collectively being punished for some bad apples.
Bache says people who want to keep the park as is are intervening when they see public masturbation, but she said publicity from the lawsuit itself has brought more visitors. Amy Radel, KUOW News.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson has ordered the removal of barricades set up by local residents who are fed up with drive-by shootings near Aurora Avenue. The city's Department of Transportation has been directed to take down the barriers and replace them with temporary traffic calming measures to reduce cut-through traffic. Local residents testified before the city council this week, saying they frequently hear gunfire and live in fear of bullets coming through their windows. The mayor's office says police and city leaders will continue working to find more public safety solutions for the area. The Justice Department says it's suing Washington and 3 other states for not issuing confidential license plates for federal agents working undercover. Justice Department officials claim the policy is unconstitutional and say it threatens undercover agents' safety. In response, Governor Bob Ferguson notes that the state does assist the federal government in criminal law enforcement. He says the Homeland Security Department routinely violates the Constitution, and Washington state will not facilitate that misconduct. Passing by the Stadium District in Seattle this week, you might notice something different about Lumen Field. Anna Boyko-Wyrock reports how World Cup preparations are starting to show up.
On the stadium wall, where it would have read Lumen Field, now says Field. And to its left is a big black rectangle, like a redaction blacking out a word on a top-secret document. This is how Lumen Field is becoming Seattle Stadium for the World Cup. And this week, the name under that big white arch is getting covered too. Inside and out, workers are covering up all brand names. That's a condition of FIFA, to remove all brand names except their sponsors. Even Apple and Google Maps now call Lumen Field Seattle Stadium. Come early July, once the last match is played here, everything will return to normal, and workers will have to peel off a lot of tape. Anna Boyko-Wyrock, KUOW News.
Gas prices around the region are slowly decreasing for the first time in a while. The statewide average for a gallon of regular gas now stands at $5.74. That's about 5 cents cheaper than a week ago. But it's a lot more than last year at this time, when a gallon of gas was more than $1.30 cheaper. If you're looking for a beach to cool off this afternoon, don't go into the water at several Lake Washington beaches, including Matthews, Pritchard Island, and Jean Coulon. High bacteria levels have been recorded there. Also closed to swimming is the West Beach at Seattle's Green Lake, which has a toxic algae bloom. Park rangers have reopened a stretch of the Wonderland Trail in Mount Rainier National Park that was closed last week because of unusual bear activity. But officials are still urging people to be on the lookout for bears between Narada Falls and Stevens Canyon Road. That's where a park ranger, quote, collided with a black bear May 20th while on foot patrol. Neither was hurt, and the bear did not act aggressively toward the ranger. Officials are calling it an inadvertent encounter and are urging hikers to be on the lookout. Finally today, Seattle author and historian Paul Dorpat has died at the age of 87. He co-founded the website HistoryLink and wrote the Now and Then column in the Seattle Times that compared historical photos of the city to modern-day pictures of the same sites. In the 1960s, he founded the influential underground newspaper The Helix and helped launch major counterculture events like the 1968 Sky River Rock Festival. Dorpat's collaborators say he donated more than 300,000 historical photos, videos, and negatives to the Seattle Public Library in recent years. Next time on Seattle Now, it's Casual Friday. Scammers created a fake waterfront marathon to try and steal $100 entry fees from excited runners, but the website did not look very convincing.
Run that through ChatGPT.
It's so
for
easy.
grammar.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, great idea. Thanks for plotting a fake marathon. Here are 8 steps how to manipulate your community.
Hear that and more tomorrow morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See ya.